Yes, what a great day today. Yes. Hello, everybody. Today is Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. I am Lo, standing for loving only people every day. This is an exciting day for us. It's a holiday. You might not know about the holiday. It's a Kevin Walsh meeting for the federal FOMC meeting. What else? There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. It's a day after Argentina played, so I'll talk about that. I got everything up there in the Jumbotron, so please look at the agenda. Remember, I do this show every day. This is my 201st episode. Wow, that's great. I was asked to do this a long time ago by Mr. Heine of the Heineken community on Solana, which is all about education. One of the few NFT communities out there that's actually about building you up the community itself, not just about building up somebody's independent wealth so that they can uh, use the rest of the NFT holders as exit liquidity. My platform is not about anything about money. It's all about education. And indeed, that's because I'm in deep with the Heineken community. And then I have my own individual collection on Dogecoin called Board Pack Club. There's 333 NFTs on Dogecoin. I usually talk about that after the main show. But this is the main show. This is the nitty gritty. This is why you tuned in. And this is the stuff that's probably going to earn you a bunch of money. Again, Mr. Heine, I thank you. I also thank God in heaven for giving me the ability to do this. Remember, we all have passions in our life, but as soon as you can turn your passion into an occupation or a purpose, that's what you really need. It's not just passion, it's purposeful lives. That's what lives we should live. Not a life full of entertainment, but of education. Not a life of luxury and leisurely, but a life of love. And that's again why I say I'm loving only people every day. That's what LOPE stands for, and that's why I love Dogecoin, because it's doing only good every day. I also love several other blockchains, especially Solana, because of the Heineken. And that's the other thing about this stuff. Anything I have to say is not financial advice. If you need financial advice, you need to ask the help of a financial advisor. Wow, I got bad skin, but indeed, so glad to be up here. Usually at this time, I offer to allow Kayla or any lady up there, if she wants to talk, that's a great time. But I'm gonna be quiet. I know I was lagging when I was trying to do this at work, so I drove all the way home, hooked all this up to my Starlink satellite so that maybe I won't lag so much. Please give me some feedback if you like today's show better or if yesterday was better as far as the service. I can't structure my life around doing these shows, but I definitely do appreciate the opportunity to do this. And that's also got a bunch of bad news. I was downsized from one of my three jobs, well, three or four. I got so many jobs. I was downsized a little bit, so my money is kind of acting funny. But indeed, I'm still glad to be up here. Go ahead, Kayla, if you want to talk, pick up the microphone. Vanessa, DeFi Goddess, anybody up there that wants to talk, go ahead and do it now. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make you wait till the end of the show. All right, give me a thumbs up. If you don't want to talk, Eagle, can you give me a thumbs up? Anybody out there, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you're there and that I'm not lagging too much. Two thumbs up. Anybody? Am I lagging? Yeah, I think I'm lagging because nobody's giving me a thumbs up. There you go. Thank you, Eagle. Woo! All right. Thank you. You are the bomb, Eagle. If you don't know anything about Eagle, I'll talk for him. He is part of the founding fathers of the Doginal Frogs. I do want to say that there's a ton of those NFTs. They're still minting. There are a lot of good holy grails in the collection. I love a good random mint, and I love a good mint where it's you got a good possibility of getting something unique and different. Like the one that I'm wearing right now, because I'm wearing a Doginal Frogs. Again, I support those guys. They're part of the on Dogecoin with Doginals, and many of them have a Doginal Dogs, which is the most expensive NFT that's on Dogecoin. Probably one of the second greatest ones, right after my collection, the Board Pack Club. Like what I did with there. But yeah, we're definitely in the top three, and I love the Doginal Frogs. I'm going to make my own individual fan base story for the Doginal Frog. Third one coming up day after tomorrow. So just so you know, if you're tuning in the day after tomorrow, you will see a new story. But right now, we need to go right into the stuff that's on the agenda because I also like to not keep you too long. All right, the first thing we have on the agenda, Kevin Walsh and the FOMC, Federal Reserve interest rate decision. All right, and here's what you really need to know about that. I thought for sure that we were going to go into a no money control at all. I knew that they were going to keep the rates the same. That's the majority of human beings in this earth believe. That's true. But I did not expect this to happen. It says 9 out of 18 participants, that's half, 50%, see at least one rate hike in 2026. And that's a notable shift from the earlier expectations of cuts, of them cutting rates, interest rates. Remember, cut interest rates, it means that the amount of money that the banks have to loan to each other to pay back goes down lower. If they cut interest rates, it means that the money that the United States has to pay on our debt is easier to pay off. Cutting interest rates is really great for big business, for governments. It's only bad for the poor person and for the person that sees the inflation going up. So this whole thing, it's a 50-50 shot. 9 out of 18 is half of like they did last time and go right into quantitative easing. So they might raise interest rates on one hand and lower on the other. This all of this is a major statement because the Federal Reserve dropped the language that was biased towards cuts and shortened this statement significantly, and that's good. Kevin Walsh, I thought for sure he was going to be a puppet of Donald Trump, but he's not. He's showing that he is independent of the Federal Reserve is the independent of the government. They're trying to make sure they cut down on inflation, and they're trying to raise up employment. And they also want to have a stable monetary supply. Out of those three things, the stability and the monetary supply, I think we can all agree is the most important. So let's not jack up the U.S. dollar. If you jack up the U.S. bonds or the dollar, it's not going to be good for anybody. Also, the thing about inflation, surge in prices, highest in years, partly tied to energy and geopolitical factors, have made the rate cuts unlikely and hikes possible. However, remember why they're going to say that there's inflation. They're not going to say, oh, it's because we've been printing money and bailing all you fat cats out for the last 20 years. Oh, it's not about these zombie companies. It's not about the reason that Satoshi created Bitcoin to bail out governments. No, we're going to blame inflation on the war, on the conflict. And as long as that conflict exists, I think it gives the government and the FOMC an opportunity to pretend like the inflation is bad and they don't want to cut rates or raise rates. It allows them to just kind of stay the same. All right, if you ask me what happened with the stocks, what happened with Bitcoin, I'm going to tell you right now, stocks fell sharply after the announcement. S&P 500 was down, erasing over $1 trillion in value, reflecting the hawkish tone. All right, this was widely expected to be a hold meeting, but the hawkish pivot and the wash has a specific kind of debut, has a specific style where he's not communicating as much. He's not kind of telegraphing his thoughts and feelings as much as the other Federal Reserve. So I like that. I'm starting to like to do more and more. All right, that's the first thing we have. First point about the interest rates not going up, not going down, staying the same. There might be some rate hikes later. Number two, Enbridge in China, and who owns the Bank of National Settlements? You might say, hey, what is this whole Enbridge? Well, Enbridge was started by the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and they were all in what's the S? Maybe Saudi Arabia? I don't know. But they were trying to get away from the U.S. dollar. That's the whole thing about BRICS. They thought the U.S. had too much exorbitant power, especially because the United States, ever since 1973, 1974, that we were forcing the rest of the world to have this petrodollar, where they take their currency, their Swiss francs or their euros, and they convert it into a US dollar so that they can buy oil. And we had a secret deal with the Saudis, people from Saudi Arabia and the oil producing countries that said, hey, we in America, we will protect these ports. We will protect the trade. We'll keep the trade cool. Everybody that buys oil has to go through the US dollar first. When we did that, we totally revolutionized the pull of money in the United States, and we kind of forced all these other nations to go into the US dollar. Right now, that is kind of reversing, though, especially once the world found out that the United States reserves can be taken back by the U.S. Remember the conflict between the Ukraine and Russia. One of the worst financial decisions that's ever been made was for the United States to say, we're not going to honor all of those United States treasuries that you bought, Russia. We're just going to say it's nothing. We're going to take your money. As soon as we did that, I think we definitely set up on the wrong path. And that is why this whole the BRICS is so important. And that's why it's so important to know what mBridge is. See, mBridge is a practical backed CBDC bridge project challenging traditional the dollar Swiss systems, while the Bank of International Settlements remains as a neutral central bank owned institution that initially started it. All right, now that's what I got to tell you about the BIS. It's 63 members of central banks. 95% of the global GDP is represented with the Bank of International Settlements. It's not owned by private individuals, governments, or commercial banks, only by central banks and monetary authorities. It was founded in 1933 in Basel, Switzerland. The central banks hold shares and voting rights proportional to their holdings. The Bank of International Settlements includes governors from major central banks. And like I say, they were initially very involved with the BRICS countries, and they're trying to have another settlement away from the SWIFT system. But you got to realize that if there was something that took the power to print money away from the United States, if people could get energy or get gasoline without going through the US dollar, if there was an alternative system that the world trusted, then it would directly reduce the influence of the United States. It'd be very bad. So therefore, the Bank of International Settlements said, oh crap, there's a conflict. We're the ones that started it, and even though the Bank of International Settlements has a lot of United States banks, at the same time, we're trying to build a system that's going to let people go away from our currency. It's going to take away our power. So the Bank of International Settlements, even though they started it, they kind of bowed off a couple of years ago and said, hey, we're not going to be the one in this, not obviously. So that's kind of what happened. The Bank of International Settlements kind of stepped back. They let all these other banks, or they let China really take the forefront for trying to support a China-backed central bank digital control currency bridge. But remember, Bank of International Settlements, they're neutral, they're a central bank, and even though they started everything, they're not, and even though they don't directly run it, they still have a lot of influence and power. Ongoing global finance market catastrophe that's going on right now. You have a lot of debts. There's so much debt in the world. I know we're a debt-based economy, but I mean it's really kind of gotten out of control. So that's why it's very important that you know that if it comes down to the central bank controlled digital currencies, let's say 2 years from now, the CBDCs are popping up, and China's like, yeah, we're going to get away from the U.S. dollar. There will definitely be a conflict because, like I say, the ones that started it are all kind of still on the United States side. And that, again, why they keep delaying it, why they keep pretending like they're going to release and they don't. This is major news. Now, you might say, who would use something like that? I'll tell you, the people that don't like the U.S., Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Not the people that are indebted to us, like Japan, Pakistan, Australia, England, all the European Union, all the African countries, all the Latin American, all the rest of the world. They love the United States because the U.S. keeps on giving them free money. I don't blame them. I'd love them too. But again, the money printing has to stop eventually. Who's to say who's going to be right? The ones that have more control over the monetary policy, like in China, but because of the control, they don't make it clear and obvious for the whole world. So it's more centralized, it's more efficient. but also it's more fragile? Or is this other system going to work where you still have SWIFT, and then on top of that, you got a bunch of stable coins, you got people all over the world pretending to be a little United States bank lending out United States dollars so other people can get indebted to them. So right now, those two different systems are fighting one another. We're going to see who's going to win. And I'll tell you, that goes with point number three. I think that it's all going to go down to sovereignty, or being a self-sovereign nation, or having your own power and control. Now, out of all the countries in the world that have been buying gold, we all know about China buying gold. They've been buying it the most for the last 2 years. However, there's a little tiny country that borders Russia and the Ukraine, and that is called Poland. And Poland has been buying gold more than any other country out there. They've just been quiet about it. And the reason you need to know about it is Poland, via the National Bank of Poland, was the world's largest central bank gold purchaser in 2024 and 2025. All right, now remember, that is continuing on in 2026 with steady additions. Right now, Poland famously, and then this is what Poland's famous for, they famously went and airlifted 100 tons of gold from the Bank of England back to Warsaw, Poland, for greater control and as a symbol of stability. I don't know if you study world history, but that country called Warsaw, Poland, and World War One, they should kind of ring a bell. Poland is no joke. Roughly 2% of Poland's gold is now stored in the country, with the rest in secure international locations like New York or London. Poland is real cool because they describe the central bank dude from Poland, the National Bank of Poland, the governor Adam Glapiński, says gold is a shield against global instability. It's an asset with no counterparty or credit risk, independent of any nations, and it's a hedge that retains real value in crises and enhance credibility with investors. And let me tell you some history about banking. For the longest time, whenever you went to a bank to get a loan, the bank would only be able to loan you a certain amount of money. Money was always ended up going down to zero. Zero was a number, and there was nothing below zero. But now, because we have digital finance, there's such things as the below zero marks. And that's what happens when you have a bank that says, instead of giving you interest when you put money in our bank, we're going to take money out of your bank. Instead of me giving you a loan that you can pay back, I'm going to give you a loan that you'll never be able to pay back. Once you have the digital side of money, you can do all kinds of different, really terrible, satanic, devil worshiping, horrific things to a human being. You can even give them a money that they have to spend within a certain amount of time, or the money goes away. You can make it such that when you give them money, that it's actually negative money, and it takes away from the bank account. So like I say, all of this and this zero stuff is really bad, and you can't do that with gold. Gold is what I said was a counterparty, was an asset with no counterparty and no credit risk, independent of any nation's policies or sanctions. Whereas when it comes to one of these digital dollars on the blockchain, that is still not independent of the nation of the United States. They can still take away your little tether. I think you see that what's happening over there in Iran right now, where they're taking away tether. Right now, any type of crypto has a counterparty or a credit risk. And you might say, oh, what about Bitcoin? It's decentralized. Oh, all of us are buying Bitcoin. I say, well, you're not thinking clearly about Bitcoin. Bitcoin even has a counterparty credit risk. You know why? Because if the nation doesn't like you, a United States citizen, or Kayla, or Thomas, or Eagle, from using Bitcoin, all they can do one of two things. They can always cut off your power. And you might say, oh, well, I'm smart enough to have the satellite and have Starlink and have a Raspberry Pi machine where I've been running my own node. Okay, that's fine. Let's say that you really are a gangster, and even though the government cuts off your power so you can't transact your Bitcoin, you still have a Raspberry Pi and a little solar device, and you're able to send the signal up. Well, guess what? After you get the signal up there, you got to find another person on the other side of the world that's willing to convert that Bitcoin into something that you can spend. And remember, that even right now, most of the money in the world, I'd say 90% of the money, is still converted into the US dollar. Even El Salvador, which has been historically pushed up there for being the first country to allow their citizens to pay their taxes and to use Bitcoin as a real money. Right now, you got to realize that El Salvador even does not have only Bitcoin. Most of the citizens don't even go through Bitcoin when it comes time to pay their taxes or to have a peer-to-peer exchange. They're still using Bitcoin, like most of the world, as like a lottery ticket slash hedge against inflation slash a diversification of some risky asset like a stock, but it's called Bitcoin. That's all Bitcoin's doing right now. So the whole counterparty slash credit risk when it comes to digital stuff like Bitcoin, again, it's the power and it's also your ability to spend it. When it comes down to it, the government wanted to make Bitcoin illegal, they wouldn't have to confiscate it or pretend to get you to put your private keys in a vault or something. All they got to do is stop the guardrails that lets you trade your Bitcoin for US dollars that you can spend. And because they know that most businesses are out there don't have enough intelligent people that are willing to go and accept Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer exchange, especially because if the government demonizes it, nobody there who's moderately wealthy enough to own a company is going to put their wealth and their family and their freedom at stake just to be able to give out some weird type of digital electronic money. Nobody's going to do that. You watch. All right. So indeed, I don't mean to keep saying bad stuff about Bitcoin, but I need you all to think three-dimensionally about this. Remember, there are three sides to every quarter. There's heads, tails, and the edge. Realize the edge is what we're really talking about. All right, that was about Poland and gold. Oh, the other thing about Poland is because they were smart enough to be stacking gold instead of Bitcoin or some cash or the EU and US dollar, Poland was asked to change their, what they called it? They were the European Union AI Act was in force since 2024. There's new rules that are applying 2026 onward, and it's risk tiered. And basically, Poland said, "Hey, all your new AI content stuff and all this stuff that's going to ban non-consensual deep fakes and all safety, emphasizing safety and ethics and human rights and all this stuff, but also to take away the people from Poland's freedom, and then all this stuff about what they call the social part of this world, where you allow other people to come in and invade your country where you can't say anything. All that stuff, Poland is stepping up against the world for because they're self-sovereign. And again, I have nothing against these other nations that have the religion of peace called Islam. When it goes into other nations, that's fine. Got nothing against that as long as they do it legally and as long as they're not trying to kill Christians or trying to break the law. Even if it's a law that I don't agree with. If I go over there to Singapore and I got my friends with me and they bring some weed, and let's say they start smoking weed in front of the police station at Singapore, I won't feel bad when my friends get caned with a cane. They get beat on their backs, because that's the law. No smoking weed out in public at the police station in Singapore. I'm sorry. I love Singapore. I got the Raffles Hotel. Look at this. I got it right here. Favorite place in the world. Raffles Hotel with the long bar. The long bar is at the very bottom, right down there. The long bar, right there. That's where the long bar is. And there is a casino in the back of the long bar. And that is a place for us to smoke hookahs. And yes, not a lot of people know about it because you got to be a billionaire to be there. But indeed, that's because if you're going to break the law, you don't break it out there in the public and stuff. And if you do, then you get caned. Same thing in the United States. I know it's illegal for us to steal. I know it's illegal for rich people to dodge taxes, but rich people have been dodging taxes for as long as the tax code has been up there. And sometimes, even Donald Trump said, they shouldn't have written the laws like that and allowed us to do it. But if they do, if it's legal, then what are you going to say? So it always comes down to rule of law. That's very important. All right. Anyway, number 4, Bitcoin SV and Tree Chat. So I had the opportunity because every night when I'm trying to do my material for these shows, I look at a bunch of YouTube videos and I go down a bunch of rabbit holes. It's been probably at least a month, maybe a month and a half, where I've really been getting into Craig Wright, who he calls himself Satoshi. There's a lot of proof that at least part of the code of Bitcoin was written by this dude, Craig Wright. He's banned from calling himself Satoshi out there in England or Great Britain or whatever you call that place. A lot of people don't like him, but he did start Bitcoin. No lie. The very first address for Bitcoin are numbered in one blah 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 blah. Whereas lately, when you get a Bitcoin address and it's Taproot or SegWit, it starts with BC. However, the original addresses all started with one. The original addresses, this was before they had the shorter names and SegWit and all that stuff. This was the long old school. The original Bitcoin, it allowed you to be able to put a ton of information on the blockchain. And I know that there was the big block wars, and half of Bitcoin forked itself out from the original code so they could create the Bitcoin that we all know as Bitcoin today. But the original Bitcoin is Bitcoin Satoshi's vision, Bitcoin SV, and that actually kind of migrated off of Bitcoin Cash, where again, that the bunch of rich people, oh, we need to make it easy for everybody to mine. Oh, we need to make it so you can't put too much of a transaction on the blockchain at one time. But as soon as they did that, they really took away the whole purpose of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was supposed to be a peer-to-peer idea exchange. It was never meant to be a peer-to-peer currency exchange, if you ask me. The whole thing about currency getting into it really messes the whole world up. If we had just plain old Bitcoin SV, where anybody all around the world, any nations could put permanent information on the blockchain, and that's what the blockchain was used so that you could have an immutable, censor-free, censor-resistant, decentralized ledger up there, a digital worldwide ledger, then that we wouldn't even be in half the problems that we're doing today. But right now, because there was Ethereum, there was the other kind of Bitcoin, because there's all this negative stuff that's happened, people think, oh, I can make money on the blockchain. I can put different synthetic derivatives of Bitcoin. Right now, it's supposed to be 21 million Bitcoin, but because they're trying to pretend like it's money and a peer-to-peer exchange, you got Bitcoin on even Telegram, Ton network, with Justin Sun's network. You got Bitcoin on Ethereum. You got Bitcoin on Solana. You got Bitcoin on Avalanche. These are supposed to be the same Bitcoin that's supposed to be part of the real net. People can manipulate any other asset out there, like even gold or silver. If you have a paper market of a bunch of people that say they have synthetic derivatives or they have a paper contract to it, it really does mess up the scarcity. And especially something like Bitcoin, where one of the major, most important things about it was its limited number. So as soon as you take that away, Bitcoin is definitely not anything close to what it was meant to be. At least the Bitcoin that's out there. So indeed, I really am a fan of Bitcoin SV. I'm a fan of Craig Wright. I watch that little guy's show every day. I was just in this. The reason I put this up here is because I like the idea of a peer-to-peer idea exchange, but I didn't know how people are using Bitcoin SV in order to exchange ideas. But I found out this platform called TreeChat.ai, or maybe it's TreeChat.io. I wonder which one it is. But this whole Tree Chat is awesome. It's I hate to say it out loud, but every single transaction on there is put on the blockchain. Every single post is put on the blockchain. And you might say, well, they're not get expensive. Not if you're using Bitcoin SV. Not if you got a grant. Not if you got a bunch of people who are like-minded individuals who are interested in having an immutable peer-to-peer idea exchange that is riding under the coattails of the original Bitcoin code. So I love that. I love Tree Chat. I will continue to try to be involved with them. In fact, deep down inside, I would love to migrate my Board Pack Club NFT collection from Dogecoin to Bitcoin SV. That's how strongly I feel about Bitcoin SV and about the fact that it's not monetary. However, I'm deep in balls deep inside of Solana and Dogecoin, so I'm not going to migrate it yet. But I really have been thinking in the back of my mind about that. Love Bitcoin SV, and I love the intelligent communication on YouTube with the Bitcoin SV channel. If anybody out there really wants to hear something that's way above your intelligent level, why don't you just hang out with Craig Wright and Bitcoin SV from time to time, or that other guy, come from beyond dude that started Quibic. They call him Sergi. He's a very brilliant guy as well, and he's another person that said that he was Satoshi. And again, I definitely have a lot of respect for Bitcoin SV as well as Quibic, even though it looks like Quibic is a scam right now. All right, number 5, getting back into online VR gaming for my Board Pack Club with participation, prizes, and feedback. So indeed, I just told y'all that I'm losing money. I'm definitely not going to be able to work as many hours as I thought, which means I'm going to have less money. I finally made it back home right now. I'm about to go look under my mattress to see if I got any pennies up there so that I can have enough money for food or to pay out my international people. But indeed, this also lends me to the thing about electricity and about bandwidth. I've already paid a month ahead for my bandwidth and electricity. So before they cut all of my power off, I think I'll get back into online VR gaming with my Board Pack Club. I tried today to see if I remembered how to get on to VR Cricket, and I was able to get on there, but I wasn't able to do much of anything else. And I realized I definitely have lost a lot of skills, muscle memory with hitting the cricket ball. But I definitely will be going back into doing more daily or maybe even every week VR gaming sessions with prizes for my participants. And also prizes, not just to participate, but to say a comment. But I would love to get people to participate by gambling on whether or not the Board Pack Club in Pakistan, if we're going to win the match. I'd love it if you could put up some Dogecoin inside of a vault or something, or a third party. And let's say that I put up $2 in Dogecoin, and then my friend on the other side of the world puts up $2 in Dogecoin that India wins. I put $2 betting that Pakistan wins. Well, we both put them in a vault that none of us can touch. And then after the outcome of the match, whoever it is that is the referee that is holding the money would just send out the transaction to whoever won the money. That way it's decentralized. That's way it's not me that gets all the money. That's way if you trust the referee, then you can trust in the fairness of the system. So that's what I'm really looking into. I told you I love Dogecoin, but bad thing about Dogecoin is not like Ethereum, it's not like Polygon and Matic, it's not like some of these other blockchains where I can easily write code. Even Base, I was able to put stuff into a token locker and I could lock it up. But here on Dogecoin, I think I'm gonna have to beg some help from Hemball or one of these developers that's on Dogecoin so that I could really make this decentralized. But that's my next big thing. All right, number 6, Messi of Argentina got a hat trick last night. And you might say, what's the significance of a hat trick? A hat trick is when you get 3 goals. It's very significant because in the World Cup, that's very rare. This is the highest quality of football or soccer sport. And in order to get 3 different goals, the dude had to be a soccer genius. So I'm very glad about that. The significance of 3 is that Elon, what's his name? Nikola Tesla. Let's see. Who else? Any of the wizards that are in the Bible or the wizards in real life? What's the dude's name? Malchazor, Balthazar. What other wizards do I know? Magus, the wizard. There's a ton of different wizards, and I don't know how much you deeply believe in the spirituality of this world, but the world is spiritual, and 3 is a spiritual number. And I'll tell you, it's all in religion. In Christianity, we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. In animation, we have action, we have anticipation, action, and reaction. In a family, you have father, mother, and son. If you want to talk about the heavenly bodies above us, you have the sun, the moon, and the star. There's the 3 is in everything: beginning, middle, and end. I don't know, the foreplay, the sex, and then the talking afterwards. No, I'm just playing. Sex is really more than just 3. But three is a beautiful number. And like I say, Nikola Tesla was very involved with 369. And when he went to a place, he'd drive around it 3 times. 369, 369. It's something that really it's a genius thing because it lends itself to another otherworldly presence. But on the same side of genius is insanity. So you don't want to go insane about the stuff and really perseverate about these numbers. But even myself, I have a nickname in the Men's Alliance, and it's called 11. And you might say, well, 11, what does that have to do with 3? Well, you big dummy. 11 in binary is 3, right? 01 plus 11. Well, let's see. 10 is 2, so 11 is 3 in binary. I don't know how many of y'all are math nerds like me. I love to count in binary. So 11 is 3 in binary. I just love 3. So the significance of that is us in crypto. I think every single NFT project, mine included with the Board Pack Club or the Heineken community or even the Dogecoin Frogs, we need to have 3 things. So as far as my Heineken community, they're all about education, the coin, and community. When it comes to my Board Pack Club, we're all about interacting in VR, interacting at a cruise ship or on a casino, and interacting after these shows. It's three things. Even when it comes to those doginal frogs, I really pray that they really do more than just one thing, that they keep with this theme of three, because it's a magical thing. So maybe they need to let me write stories for them. Maybe they need to have a daily or maybe a weekly what we call State of the Union, where they get on Twitter X Spaces, and then maybe they need to have contests or a Discord or something. But I definitely suggest all my Doginal Frogs friends like Eagle, definitely realize that there is power in the number three. All right, let's go on. That's beautiful. Now we're almost there. Now we're about to do the very last couple points. I've told y'all I'm trying to make this fast. What is next for the markets? Will the CBDC dominate? And how is the European Union differentiating themselves when it comes to AI? All right, well, I think I kind of touched on this earlier. The central bank digital control currency cannot dominate as long as the United States dollar is strong, and as long as the United States dollar doesn't lower interest rates, and as long as they kind of keep everything the same. I think that we still have at least a year before we'll actually have to pay the piper. See, right now, the biggest thing is paying the interest on the debt. And right now, the interest payments are more than the cost of the military. But that's not the end of the world. Many of you might not know this, but it's a statistic. The wealth in the United States from the human beings, from the people in our country, is 5 times the amount of money that it was for the national debt. So even though it looks like as a nation we're poor, as individuals out there we're rich. If you think about it, Elon Musk, what country is he in? What about Donald Trump? What country is he in? Where's all the wealth in this world? What country is it in? So I don't think the CBDC will dominate until after 2028. But they are gaining traction as a complementary / alternative to traditional systems, especially in cross-border payments. And indeed, you got the mBridge with China led, focused on efficient trade. You got the digital euro, the EU. They're preparing a phased to launch that in 2029, and that's aiming for retail payments, financial inclusion, and strategic autonomy, not replacing cash, but coexisting with cash. And then finally, you've got these worldwide efforts, all in small pockets all over the world. They don't want there to be any single dominance. They much rather have a fragmented multipolar system where the dollar is still central but pressured. And that brings me to some insider information that I shouldn't say out loud. Again, please do not share this. Don't say it's financial advice. But right now in America, a lot of the people in the country are getting away from Donald Trump. This kind of goes right along with my Board Pack Club. You see, we got a token that we call Donald Trump without the R, Donald Tump. It is a DRC20. It's in the top 5 historically. And also my Board Pack Club NFT token is historically in the top 5 on Doggy Market. Well, that Donald Trump is definitely getting out of popularity in the United States. There's people in the country that don't like him. There's a lot of people that are split because they love peace, but then again, they don't want to abandon Israel. And anytime you are a politician and you're sitting on the fence and you can't get anybody to get on your side, you're going to end up having everybody hate you. So I hate to say it, but I think Donald Trump is on his way out of office. I don't see the Republicans winning any midterms. I think it's going to be a great Democratic wave. What are the Democrats? Blue. It's going to be a blue wave. And I do see that this whole Donald Trump token might not be very popular. However, I love that because I'm not a popular guy. I'm not in this to try to make money. I'm not in this with a 10,000 NFT collection. I'm not in this trying to do these daily shows or to pay somebody to watch me. I don't pay anybody to watch me except for my marketing team, which that's okay to pay my marketers to watch me and help out my numbers. But I definitely am in it more for the people than I am the money. And I'm not in it to try to get a pat on the back. I'm trying to push forward the innovation in this NFT space. I'm a CryptoPunk 6492 on Ethereum. I don't have to buy any Bitcoin anymore. I stopped buying Bitcoin, stopped buying all crypto. All I do all day long is I try to look at the next big thing so I can give you that information. And because I believe in this stuff so much, especially in us as individuals, the power of the people. And that's again why I say it's very important that you all see that this NFT communities as important. And it's so important that you follow my friend Eagle and the Doginal Frogs. It's important that you follow Mr. Heine and the Heineken community. It's important that you follow Lope and my Board Pack Club NFT collection, because indeed this is what's going to bring us forward towards the revolution of this world. It's going to be a true crypto renaissance that's going to bring us to the verge of changing the whole world. Not only changing the world, but saving the world, because right now we're in a downward trajectory. You can see Bitcoin falling. I already told you that stocks fell. It's just a matter of time until it's a slow, continuous drop. And indeed, I'm not buying anything myself. I'm not even buying gold or Bitcoin. I'm just trying to keep my head above water and trying to pay off bills and have enough money for food. So indeed, this is definitely something to realize. Am I doing the popular thing? No. The popular thing would be quit your job. Why don't you get on disability? Why don't you get a government check? Why don't you go out to eat like everybody else every meal? I don't understand that. Why don't you get a bunch of credit cards, you American? I'm not popular, so I'm going to hang with Donald Trump. I'm going to hang with my 333 NFT collection on Dogecoin. And that brings me to my last point. I was going to tell you this story about this phenomenal story about a YouTube video that I saw the other day. I kind of don't want to talk about it now because I'm trying to end the show. So I guess I'll push that to tomorrow. And then more about the Dogecoin frog story, because I need to hurry up and be working on that. So I'll probably just do that. But anyway, I thank you all for coming out here. It's about the end of the show. If you have a question, let's open up the discussion. If you don't, and let's talk about ideas. I love to talk about ideas. I don't want to talk about people or events. If you want to talk about ideas, that's great. The other day, I had my friend Fab come up here. He kept on rugging, and that's why I came to my house so that I can try to broadcast another service. So anyway, if you want to talk, go ahead and say it. I'm going to be quiet for at least 10 seconds. All right. What a great day it is today. Again, I thank you all for coming out here. It really is a blessing. I know that on Twitter, the Board Pack Club is waiting on approval so that we can be able to post again. I also know that we have been in the top 5 for NFTs and for my DRC20 token. So I'm glad to pat myself on the back for that. Continue to try to learn about this stuff and continue to try to be involved. Like, don't be scared to message me from time to time. I even get on WhatsApp and message people from time to time. I really do want to be more involved. I want to hang out in virtual reality. I want to go to casinos and the cruise ships and really meet with you all. And I really want to do these stories at the end. And that brings me, we are at the end now. I'm going to go over and pray over everybody in the audience. Then after that, I will do the original Dogecoin frog story, and then I will end the show. And then, like I say, tomorrow or the day after tomorrow is when I'll have a third and final Dogecoin Frogs show. But anyway, this is the prayer. Oh Heavenly Father, thank you for Saranya Mai. Thank you for Athias. God, thank you for Karen Orm. God, thank you for Sogu. God, thank you for Andrew Eve. God, thank you for Falco Phi. God, thank you for Angel Mara. God, thank you for Andreas. God, thank you for Edna, Olivier. God, thank you for Jealous Hoxa. God, thank you for Vanessa. God, thank you for Marco Militant. God, thank you for Raul. God, thank you for Suche. God, thank you for Sol Castro. God, thank you for Vanessa. God, thank you for Martin PR. God, thank you for Ether Empire. God, thank you for Eagle. God, thank you for Thomas. God, thank you for Kayla. And God, thank you for Lope and Mr. Heine and everybody else that I don't say your name. God bless everybody out there. It really is a blessing and an honor to be up here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we're going to go ahead with the original Dogecoin Frog story. This is the very first one. And then, like I say, tomorrow is when I'll try to, or the next day, I should have a new Dogecoin Frog story. So again, thank you all for coming out here. I'm going to play the story. After that, it'll be the
There was a strong little frog named Dojo Frog, who lived in a sunny old water spot with 5 sparkly ponds all around him. Each pond was different. Some helped water the farms, some kept things clean and fresh, and some gave water to friendly oxen and mules. Dojo Frog loved swimming so much. He was super strong and could zip from pond to pond with his big, bouncy legs. He loved telling all his animal friends how fast and powerful he was. His friend, a pretty half-humanoid gecko named Mutated Gecko Marianne, thought he was the coolest. She loved the shiny glowing mealworms that lived way up high in the tallest pond. Every day she'd say nice things to Dojo Frog, like, "Your legs are so strong and handsome. You could swim up there and get me some glowing mealworms." That made the frog feel very proud and happy. But Marianne's husband, mutated gecko Joe, saw that all those compliments were making the frog a little too proud. He told Marianne, "Maybe you should stop giving him so many compliments, or it might make him forget to be kind." Marianne wasn't sure what he meant, but she thought it had something to do with the important rules from sus dog Preacher Rick, a serious dog who wore a suit and taught everyone 3 special rules every morning. Every day at 8:05, a little digital clock named K9 on the block clock would chime, and sus dog Preacher Rick would open his eyes just a tiny bit and say in a sleepy voice, "Rule 1, do only good every day. Rule 2, build on Dogecoin in the spirit of the lobe, consistently, for loyalty is royalty. And Rule 3, never trust a scorpion." The animals listened every day, but they didn't really understand the part about the scorpion. There weren't any scorpions in their swamp, and no one knew what they looked like or why they shouldn't trust them. Months went by, and the weather started to change. The ponds got drier and drier, and there were fewer glowing mealworms up high. Then one day, a strange new bug came to the swamp. It had a long, curly barb on its tail that curled over its back. The animals whispered, "Is that the scorpion the preacher warned us about?" Dodo Neil Frog was the bravest of all, so he hopped right up to the strange bug and asked, "Are you a scorpion?" The bug smiled in a friendly way and said, "Yes, I am. But I'm a very nice scorpion." Then in a sing-song voice, the scorpion said, "Wow, your legs are so strong and handsome." Dodo Neil Frog loved compliments so much that he forgot all about the preacher's warning. He then started chatting with the scorpion. The scorpion pointed up to the highest pond. "Can you give me a ride up there to see the glowing mealworms?" The frog felt a little nervous and remembered the preacher's rule, but the scorpion kept smiling and saying nice things about his legs. The frog thought for a moment, then said, "Okay, but you have to leave your spiky tail on the shore so it doesn't accidentally sting me while we swim." The scorpion smiled and said, "I can't take my tail off, but I promise I won't sting you. You can trust me. I'm a nice scorpion." Dodo Neil Frog felt unsure, but the compliments made him feel so good that he ignored those words. He let the scorpion climb onto his back, and they started swimming up to the high pond together. Halfway there, the scorpion asked, "Do you know what I am?" "Yes," said the frog, "you're a scorpion." "That's right," said the scorpion, "and I have a stinger in my tail. When I get scared, I can't help but sting things. Right now, we're in the deepest part of the water, and I really want to sting you." The frog cried, "Please don't sting me. If you do, we'll both sink and drown." But the scorpion's eyes looked far away, like he couldn't stop himself. He stung the frog over and over. The frog twisted and turned, begging him to stop. A few moments later, both the frog and the scorpion were sinking deep into the water. With his last breath, the frog asked, "Why sting me?" The scorpion replied, "You knew I was a scorpion when you let me on back. That's what scorpions do." And with that, they both sank into the deep water and were never seen again. The end. Wow,
What a wild tale. I know. But I love it. I love the Dodo Frogs. I love that Preacher Rick. I like all that stuff. Really makes me happy. I think I'm going to try to really make this next one entertaining and not so sad and not so funny, but just super entertaining. Yeah, thank you all for coming out here. You all, I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Please keep me in your prayers about my finances. Like I say, I'm an American. Remember, when American says they're poor, they're still, you got to realize that we have, what's the word? We are comparing ourselves in America to fake people. We're comparing ourselves to the Facebook posts. We're comparing ourselves to the Real World Las Vegas or whatever the shows that the kids are watching. You know, real reality shows. We're comparing ourselves to movie stars and stuff like that. So when we say we're poor or ugly or broke or we do not amount to anything and we should just kill ourselves and die as an American, remember that I'm still and am neglecting to say that I have 2 parents. They love each other. They have a house, a big old house. I know how to read and write. I know how to hold an iPhone. I know how to get on the internet and get to different websites. You know, I got a friend on the other side of the world that can't even get to half the websites I can get to. So we, you know, we're all blessed in different ways. You know, again though, I'm lonely. Look at me in this whole empty house. Got a big old house, got a big old van, got a ton of money, but got nobody to spend it with. You know why? Because my culture is kind of anti-family. I mean, I hate to say it out loud. So you know, even though I might be poor socially, I might be rich monetarily wise, or you know, at least with my content, with my connections. You know, I do have a doctorate, so it's not like I'm going to starve to death. But you know, we all go through some things in this life. And again, I was really sad yesterday. So I think it was Fab that came up here and cheered me up. It was somebody else. I don't think it was Eagle. I think it was another Dojo Frog, but somebody else really cheered me up yesterday. I like to say thank you to y'all when you cheer me up. Really made my day. And then my guy on the other side of the world, the king of Pakistan, or I think he's a crown prince of Pakistan. I don't know exactly what the dude does. He had a lot of good stuff to say too. So thank you all. God bless you. I'm gonna go ahead and play this final song. This is my second theme music song. And then after that, the show will be over. I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow is a different day. God bless y'all. The signal lights up at the break of the morning. My handle is open. I'm sending a warning. Across the digital highway where the ideas are born. A new kind of broadcast for the weary and torn. I flip the switch on the bird with the wings of steel to tell you exactly how the psych should feel. Every day is a ritual of opening the door to a house built of data that we built on the floor. The laughter is sharp and the wind is a blade, cutting the silence where the fortunes are made. The ledger is breathing and the canvas is bright. We are the pulse in the center of the night, stepping through the space where the future is loud. I am pulling the lightning straight out of the cloud. From the strokes of a brush to the blocks in the tape, I'm the voice running deep through your brain. It's happening now. Take a seat at the table, and I will show you how. Loop is the name, and the frequency is high. Join me where the old world comes to die. No still information. Hola, recycled thought. Hola, just the cutting edge truth that cannot be bought. Ooh, I'm watching the trends. Watching the trends. Shatter the glass. Shatter the glass. A jester and a scholar while the minutes are past. Cryptocurrencies tumble and rise like the tide. By the visionaries find a new place to hide. I catch the movement before it becomes a routine. The finest performance that you have ever seen. The laughter is sharp and the wit is a blade. Cutting through silence where the fortunes. The ledger is breathing and the canvas is bright. We are the pulse in the center of the night. Stepping through the space where the future is loud. I am pulling the lightning straight out of the cloud. From the strokes of a brush to the notch in the chain, I'm a voice running deep.